Okay, Higurashi when they cry, chapter 6. Is it chapter 6? I think so. The cops were smart enough to separate us during questioning. But she didn't come to talk to me. His aim was Satoshi-kun and nobody else. I got a young cop who just talked about ordinary things. He must have been trying to ease me into the negotiation. When I realized that, the clumsy way he spoke began to frustrate me. Is Satoshi-kun alright? I didn't think, Ushi really brought my testimony. He must have been trying to, get Satoshi-kun to confess in spite of that. All I could do was pray that he would keep quiet. The phone on the desk rang, and the cop picked it up. This is, Kumagi. What? Alright, I understand. Right away. He hung up and told me somebody had come to retrieve me. It looked like Satoshi-kun had to stay. Were they going to continue the interrogation just because he had no one to pick him up? Although maybe I should have been worrying more about myself. Derek had probably heard about me by now, since I revealed my identity to the police. I couldn't hide any longer. I was going to receive some sort of punishment. I had no idea what she would end up doing to me. The degrees of punishment for a traitor is always severe in the world of the Shinozakis. The punishment must be carried out. If it's to protect the family's reputation, it's carried out no matter what. Maybe I should kiss my pinky finger while I still can. I asked the young cop just in case. Hey, did you know that in America if a condemned criminal gets arrested in a state which has banned capital punishment, they will refuse to surrender him to the state prosecuting him if that state hasn't banned it? Huh? Maybe it's too difficult for him. He just looked puzzled. A glossy black car was waiting for me in the front of the police station. A few men from my dad's office bowed to me. It's been a long time, Shion-san. Where's Keisei? Keisei had been helping me ever since my escape from the school. They wouldn't allow him to walk free. How's Sis doing? Does she have something to say about this? We were only told to bring you to the main house. Please ask her when you get there. After saying that, he escorted me into the car. A man sat on either side of me. Obviously, they didn't want me to escape. Thinking of Satoshi-kun, I looked back at the police station. Hold on tight, Satoshi-kun. I'll grin and bear it too. The car started off roughly. It was never a good occasion when I went to this house. Except when Mian and I were really small, oblivious to what the Shinozaki name meant for us. I'd been here only when I had to attend bullying family councils. The car parked behind the house. Traitors aren't allowed in through the main gate. I got out of the car. It looked like Sis would be the only person to receive me. I almost spoke to her casually, but her cold gaze froze me before I could. It's been a while, Shion. I never expected to see you, other than on New Year's. It gave me the chills to hear her greet me in that cold manner. It's a pleasure to see you again, Shion-sama. I feel overjoyed to have the chance to see you other than on New Year's. I responded trying to sound likewise. Our leader is deeply upset. I wonder how you'll explain yourself. I have nothing to explain. I had no excuses. I escaped from the school solely because I couldn't stand it there. That was all. Shion, come this way. Everyone is waiting for you. Mian escorted me and the others followed. We went to the garden, not into the main house. As we passed through the huge yard into the woods, I realized where she was taking me, to the torture room. When we were little, we were told never to go near these woods. I had a vague idea of what was in the back of them. I had heard that there was a hidden passage to the underground torture room, where they used to punish the enemies of the family. Yeah, I've been there before. The more horrendous rumors I heard about the family, the more credible those rumors seem. Well, I wasn't completely certain about any of that. I never expected to see the torture room for myself. When we came to a concave clearing in the middle of the woods, I saw a metal door at the bottom of it. The door reminded me of a bomb shelter. So, this is the underground torture room, huh? I was surprised to hear my own voice. My voice was trembling. It made me realize I was more scared than I thought. Nobody answered my question. The very air felt tense. According to the family rules, one of the twins must be eliminated. Was I finally going to be eliminated? I realized I had been underestimating my punishment. I hadn't been aware of the true terror until now, I just thought I was. Beyond the steel door, the air had an intimidating smell. This really was happening to me. I shouldn't allow myself to give in to fear. I felt like saying something rude, but my lips were dry, and my fingers were fidgeting. I was escorted through the narrow hallway and down a few set of stairs. There I saw another huge steel door. So this was the place. It was a spacious and utterly odd-looking room. What's that noise? The room had two sections that were completely different. One side looked like a lounge. I saw several... What is that? I saw several high-ranking members of the family council sitting on cushions there, looking expressionless. The other half was tilted, as if in a large public bath, tiled. That was already puzzling enough, and there were those things. To be honest, they had captured my attention from the moment I arrived. I noticed them even before I saw the lounge and tiled space. I just didn't want to accept that they existed. I couldn't stand straight. I almost dropped to my knees, but I couldn't. Two young men had been holding me by the arm since I got here. There were oddly shaped things hanging from the walls. I was just refusing to recognize what they were. I knew exactly what they were called. Ah, I see. I understood that. Those eerie shaped tools were torture devices from hell. Damned fool, how dare you return? The hag saying at the front of the lounge intimidated me in that horrid voice. She kept cursing me for a little while, but she was so incented that I could barely tell what she was saying. I knew what she was trying to say though. The hag was willing to forgive me on escape from the school, but once I revealed my identity to the police, she had to step in. Since I had to disobey the family rule, she, as the leader, was forced to punish me. Moreover, there was one thing that bothered her more than anything else. The fact that I called for Satoshi-kun. The Hojo family had been seen as traitors to the villagers ever since the dam conflict. Satoshi-kun is still considered one of them. She couldn't accept that I was connected to him. To me, this was a bit unexpected. I escaped from the school the hag had put me in. All the while, I believed that was what she was upset about. But in fact, she said that she was the most uncomfortable with my connection with Satoshi-kun. I couldn't believe this. Of course, I knew that Satoshi-kun's family was prosecuted for their betrayal, but I didn't think that Satoshi-kun was also burdened with that responsibility. He has nothing to do with that. I understand that his parents were ostracized, but he shouldn't be. Shut the hell up. The hag interrupted me with a shout, which made me cower in fear. She continued slandering the Hojos and said that Satoshi-kun was a cursed child. I started feeling pissed off. What did he do to deserve this? What was he being blamed for? It was too late when I realized that I'd said that out loud. The hag looked furious. I've obviously upset her. I decided to repeat myself to make it very clear how I felt. What are you saying, you old hag? Everything you're spouting is nonsense. Huh? Who the hell do you think you're talking to? Shut the fuck up, let me finish. I shouted loudly to silence the hag. What the fuck do you know about Satoshi-kun? How could you talk about him like he's some pest when you don't know anything about him? I know how sweet he is. You don't like him because he's a Hojo? How fucking stupid is that? Even your brain is arctic. Or what? Arctic. Or what? You hate the fact that Shinozaki is a Hojo that much? That's not just stupid, that's beyond stupid. Boy, I never expected to feel like Juliet. My voice became hoarse from shouting. My face was messy with tears. Even so, I didn't feel like putting a stop to my emotional explosion. I was all too aware that I was doing this just to overwhelm my fear. The hag was glaring at me while breathing heavily. I glared back at her as fiercely as I could. Eventually, I realized that her sticking point was my relationship with Satoshi-kun. She wasn't only upset that I had a mere connection with him. I see, it looks like Mion mentioned that too. It was as though Mion was wearing a mask. She didn't budge under my penetrating glare. That was what the hag was really unhappy about. The fact that I was in love with Satoshi-kun. I don't give a shit about his family background or my own. Yeah, I'll admit that I'm in love with him. I love Satoshi Hojo-kun. I love him so much. Is that so wrong? Do you need a reason to love someone? I could see the relatives shaking their heads in turmoil. Among them I saw my mom. She must have been trying to protect me, but even she couldn't look at me. Instead, she just silently looked at the floor. Did you guys in the back hear me? Am I wrong? You would know how sweet Higashi-kun is in an instant if you bother to get to know him. How can you put him down without? Mian held out a hand to silence me. Then she slowly walked in my direction. That is enough, Shion. I understand what you wanted to say. Mian put her head close to mine and whispered. Shion, I know how you feel, but you can't go back after coming this far. You have to pay for what you did. What did I do? Why me? That's ridiculous. Shion. Mian's face turned cold again and she calmly told me, you're probably right, but this is Himazawa and we are Shinazaki's. As I'm sure you understand, we are the leaders of the three families, and you are the twin of the successor Mian Shinazaki, yet... I interrupted her. We haven't agreed on that matter ever since I came back. You're full of this reputation shit. Himazawa? Shinazakis? So what? I don't give a fuck about that. Listen! Mian interrupted me, just like I did her. How many people did you depend on to start your new life in Akinomiya? Chills shot through my spine. Keisei-san is in the cell at the back. Why Keisei? I knew why, of course. The moment I got caught, those who helped me were destined to meet the same fate. We were all subject to the punishment of betrayal. Maybe my punishment would be lighter than what they've been going through. Keisei and Uncle Yoshiro must have been treated much worse than this. Everyone who helped me was falling victim. I know that you are willing. I know that you prepared for your punishment, but have you ever thought about the consequences that Keisei and Uncle Yoshiro will have to face? My head rapidly cooled down. My aggression was all used up. I should be able to bear whatever punishment they bring on me, but I resented the fact that I'd be putting the people who supported me at risk. Shion, apologize to Granny. If you do, the others won't have to suffer, right? But Mion, did I really do something wrong? Was anything what I did bad? The moment Mion learned that I wasn't willing to apologize, her expression turned cold again. She turned back to me and returned to the lounge. I talked back to the hag in a really harsh manner. I told her that I didn't do anything wrong, that I had involved many people to who I owed so much to. Even without saying this was my responsibility, I was the sole person to blame, and no fault lay with them. Yes, Keisei and Yorishiro were blameless, just as Satoshi-kun was. But then, as if she read my mind, Mion turned around, and gave a slight nod. It was possible that something was going to happen to Satoshi-kun. On top of Keisei and Uncle Yorishiro. Wait, sis, that can't be. Satoshi-kun, I mean, nobody else should be punished. Please forgive them. What is it, Shion? Tears rolled down my cheek. I no longer cared about my pride. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Please forgive me. I should say what the heck wanted to hear yet. She still looked unsatisfied. Maybe that wasn't too surprising. I had just denounced her so badly in front of her relatives. She wouldn't forgive me so easily. Just then Mion spoke as the successor. So, Shion, how do you propose to pay for this? Pay? What do you want me to do? Nothing could be scarier than being told to pay up while standing next to a horrid looking torture devices. I was completely terrified. I couldn't move from trembling. Mion saw that and then whispered to her grandmother. The hag nodded. Mion summoned some young minions and gave them an order. They removed one of the torture devices hanging on the wall, then set a table in front of me and put the device on top of it. What is it? This is a tool for removing fingernails. Do you know how to use it? No way. I shook as I stared at the tool. It looked like a giant nail clipper. You probably put the part that looks like a beak between your fingers and fingernails, pulling them apart if you squeeze with the handle. The chills went up and down my spine when I imagined that. Each fingernail represents one of your responsibilities. Shinozaki, no matter which one you choose, you must remove three nails yourself. 3? One for Keisei, one for Uncle Yoshiro, and the last one for Satoshi. It's a fairly reasonable number. Would you really not punish the others? Maybe. Shouldn't it be 4? Like one for you as well? Promise me, please, let them go if I do this. This is a punishment, not a negotiation. If you don't like the procedure, I'll do it. Just give me a second, I'm doing it. I put the device to my little finger while shaking badly. If my fingernails were shorter, it would have been harder. The metal beak captured my little finger beautifully. The subordinates and stabilized my left hand with a different restraining tool. That seemed reasonable because my finger would slip out if it wasn't restrained like that. As the subordinate buckled up the leather straps, I realized that this was really happening, and there was no escape. Somewhere in my mind I'd been thinking that they might forgive me after just the gesture alone. I shouldn't have been so naive. The emotions I'd been holding back appeared in forms of tears and kept rolling down my cheeks. It was like my feelings were being squeezed out till the very last drop. Something even more horrifying followed this. It was a silence that awaited my next action. So, what should I do now? One of the subordinates pointed to the handle and told me to either squeeze it or hit it. He recommended that the latter would be easier to make it quicker. Nobody said anything after that. There was nothing to hear but the sound of my sweat dripping onto the floor. The onlookers were staring at me silently, waiting for me to execute my punishment. Both the hag and Mion. They were also anticipating it. I could refuse, but that meant I wouldn't be paying up. This punishment exists to offer payment in exchange for the safety of those who help me. If I refused, they would suffer. I started breathing heavily. I knew if I did this, the others would go free. This was, if you thought about it, quite a good deal. If it weren't for me, it wouldn't be just 3 fingernails. If it were Keisei, he'd have to suffer sacrifice his little finger or something even worse. I knew that. It was my selfish desire to get away from that school. Why did Keisei have to suffer because of that? I knew that. Why did Uncle Yoshiro have to suffer just because he provided me with a job? I knew that the hag and the other relatives still hated the Hojos, so I didn't know what they would do to Satoshi-kun if I didn't do this. Would they bring Satoshi-kun here and tell him to do the same? Would they tell him to remove his fingernails in exchange for forgiving me? He would do it. He would sacrifice himself with no hesitation in order to save others. My sweat dripped onto the table through my nose. I would do it, yes. It was only 3 fingernails. It might hurt a lot, but I wouldn't die. The fingernails would grow back. It wouldn't even leave a large scar. I shouldn't be afraid. The punishment was minimal because it was me. If I refused to do this, the others would be punished much more severely. I couldn't let that happen to Keisei, Yoshiro, or Satoshi-kun. I was the only one who should be punished. So I just needed to bear the pain. Ow. I wasn't just breathing heavily anymore. I was almost moaning faintly, ready to scream at any moment. That's right, make it quick. This wasn't torture, so I didn't have to prolong the moment of pain. I should do it in one swift blow. That way my pain and fear would be minimized. I've raised my right arm. Quickly. Pain would be lessened if I did it in one stroke. It would be much more painful if I messed up. Ha. I held my breath. I felt as if my body was frozen. I was choking. The chill crept up my spine. Don't be afraid, Shion. Fingernails are just tiny fractions of the whole body. Just 1 square centimeter. I could do this. I could bear it. Whoa. I smacked my right arm onto the handle of the device. I sensed the noise through my body instead of through my ears. At the same time, I felt a pain I'd never experienced before. A moment later, the pain pulsated with my heartbeat. I clenched my teeth. I felt like my teeth were cracking. I tightly shut my eyes until my eyeballs got squeezed up. The pain wouldn't fade. Rather, it swelled up with my blood pressure. I felt as though it was blowing like a balloon. Timidly, I opened my eyes. I found that my little finger wasn't really drenched in blood. It was bleeding, but not much. Certainly not enough to explain how much it hurt. My fingernail was open just like the hood of a car. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was overwhelming. It occurred to me that I'd done 1 out of 3. Did I have to repeat it 2 more times? Did I have to remove the nails from my ring and the middle finger as well? I looked at the heck of me, I'm begging for mercy, but they were just silently staring at me. As the show had only just begun, I saw no hint of mercy in their eyes. They wouldn't be changing their mind. Since I said 3, it had to be 3. They wouldn't forgive me until I removed 2 more fingernails. You know, look, isn't this enough? It really hurts, you know that. You see in my eyes, don't you? It really hurts. Me and Anta stood wearing a cold look. You can't keep going, Shion? She didn't mean that with suspicion. Or she meant that the others would have to take the remaining punishment if I didn't. I knew that. I really didn't know. I'll do it. This is easy. You sadist. This doesn't scare me, this doesn't hurt. I quickly removed the metal beak and set it on my ring finger. I smacked it down with no hesitation. Instead of making it quick, maybe I was just rushing out of fear. I'd messed up. It was just the tip of my fingernails. The pain, however, was equal. I couldn't believe I only chipped it. Did I have to do it again? Did I have to continue removing the nail from my ring finger? That much pain again? Shion? No, I don't want to do it. I couldn't bear it anymore. I started crying shamelessly. I can't take it anymore. It's too painful. Forgive me, please. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry. They didn't seem to hear my voice. It felt as though there was an invisible barrier between us. They showed no mercy. They were just here to witness the ritual. So rather than sympathetic, they looked amazed by my screw-up. Shion walked up to me, I whispered to my crying face, Shion, there's just a bit more to go. Hang in there. No. I can't do this, it really hurts, it really does. Mion shook her head, then signaled to the subordinates. They came from behind me. They covered my head with something like a knit cap. It was a blindfold. One of them pinned me in a Nelson hold, restricting my movements. No, stop, no. They could overpower the guy behind me. Then I felt something strange in my left hand. The other guy was doing something with the torch tool. He put the metal beak between my ring fingers and his nail. No. Mom, help me, Mom. My left hand was fixed into the restraint, so I couldn't put much protest anyway. But even that left hand was pushed down by his rough palm until it hurt, robbing it of the freedom even to tremble. I had no hesitation. It was made very clear to me how merciless people could be. All my vision, all I could do was clench my teeth against the pain assailing me. If there was anything I was thankful for, it was that it was well practiced and had both of my fingernails cleared cleanly. Pain and screaming might induce narcotic chemicals in the brain. While screaming, I started losing consciousness. Higurashi when they cry, maybe? Oh no. Oh, there it is. I woke up. My memories were missing. I couldn't remember how I got back to my room. I held my head with both hands. My left hand was bandaged. The fingers that had their nails removed had swollen like hot dogs. I had paid with those fingernails for what I did. The hag had said something after the punishment, but I didn't remember any of it. I was taken to the hospital in Okinomiya. The car shook on the way, adding extra pain on top of what I already felt. Somebody gave me some aspirin. They worked just like they said on TV, but they didn't last for more than 10 minutes. I swallowed the pills without water. While I was spacing out in the waiting lounge, Keisei showed up. He probably came to check if I was alright. Obviously he wasn't. He must have understood that from my bandaged left arm dangling from my shoulder. Keisei on the other hand looked just fine. At least on the outside. I was relieved that my sacrifice had meant something. Keisei didn't say anything. I couldn't tell if he wanted to tell me something or not, because he just looked so emotionless. Keisei, yes? He paused shortly before answering. I could tell he was upset. I didn't regret revealing my true identity in order to protect Satoshi-kun, but I hadn't wanted Keisei or Uncle Yorishino to be hurt. I had been contradicting myself. Does that mean they're gonna kill Satoshi-kun because do his fingernails. Do you know how Uncle Yorishiro is doing? No. I'm sure he's alright, because he's strong. Even so, you should apologize to him. Okay. I wanted to ask him about Satoshi-kun too. I wonder if he was captured or was harassed by the Shinozaki family because of me. But I was hesitant to ask Keisei. After all, I would choose Satoshi-kun over them. Was Satoshi-kun alright? I hoped he wouldn't get caught and incarcerated anywhere. I paid the hospital bill and Keisei gave me a ride home. I finally realized that somebody was knocking on my door. Shion-san? It's not hard to sleep so much. It was Keisei. He put some side dishes on the table and we started nibbling on them. How do you feel? Depressed? Have you been resting? Have you been eating? I've been eating stuff left in the fridge. Otherwise I've been either sleeping or staring at the ceiling. It had been 3 days. I've just been lying down since then. I woke up every now and then in my shallow sleep, but I didn't feel like getting up, thinking I just felt like I'd been floating the whole time. My appetite was gone, but I came back with the smell of the food Keisei brought. I wasn't able to think of anything to talk to Keisei about, so I just ate silently. I got a call from Yon-san yesterday. She was saying she called you a few times but never got through. The moment I heard Mion's name, I felt my wounds throb. But I didn't stop Keisei, who continued. Because you paid up, the family had decided to close the matter. We will officially withdraw from St. Lucia and transfer to a school in Akinomiya. They're finally acknowledging my right to make my own decisions, huh? Indeed. They said you could live as yourself now under a few conditions. You will stay away from Himizawa. You won't pretend to be Mion Shinozaki. You won't show up in public places and so on. This means, in exchange for acknowledging me, they don't want me to hang around. That's correct. Of course it's only temporary. Until things cool down, there is no set duration, but I think you should stay inconspicuous at least until the end of the year. It'd be good enough just to live in Akinomiya quietly, the way it was before. Keisei put on a sad smile. I smiled back at him likewise. Before the conversation ended, I should ask him what I wanted to know. How's Satoshi-kun doing? I wish that Keisei would assure me of his safety right away, but he didn't answer like that. Keisei? Is he alright? Shion-san. Keisei put his chopsticks down. The family wants you to forget about him. What? Shion-san. I don't want to get into an argument with you, so I won't go into the details. I'm only relaying to you what the family wants. What are you talking about? What details, Keisei? Keisei pretended as though he didn't hear me and started eating again. I've never seen him so stubborn like this. The Shinozaki family had been using the Hojo family as a scapegoat. They must have concluded that Shinozaki shouldn't be in love with the Hojo. I didn't like that. Satoko is a friend of Mion at school. Would it be okay if Satoshi-kun and I were the same gender? Anyway, if I did something conspicuous again, they might do something to him for real. Just like they forced me to remove my own fingernails. Shinozaki family wouldn't hesitate. I wonder when he disappeared after the Wachinagashi. When is, Satoko's birthday? We said it was 3 days, right? And that happened a day after the Wachinagashi, so it's like 4 days has passed so far. They'll torture him if need be. Maybe if I really loved him, I should stay away. Joshiko won't show up in Akinomiya unless he rejoins the Himizawa fighters. I had to pretend to be Mion if I wanted to go to Himizawa, but I don't think she would cooperate with me. And if she did, it would be some time down the road. Even if they had told me not to see him, I already had no means of doing that. Oh wait, Mion gave me his number a little while ago. I could call him, maybe ask him to meet him secretly. But if I got caught again, they wouldn't cut me any slack. Should I risk it? What the hell did I even want from Satoshi-kun? Keisei, can I be alone for a moment? Keisei started putting away his food in a rush, assuming that I wanted him to leave. Oh no, that's not what I meant. Take your time and finish your food. I just want to take a walk. You can't lock this place up if I don't step out with you. Keisei quickly put away his meal and followed me out. Just to be clear, I'm not going out to see Satoshi-kun, right? I see. I turned around and started walking. My destination was rather pathetic. It was the toy store that sold that large teddy bear. That giant teddy bear. Couldn't deny that I was somewhat expecting Satoshi-kun to pass by there. I couldn't stop myself from looking at the faces of the passersby who resembled him. I looked into the store window. The teddy bear was gone. Congrats, Satoshi-kun. Looks like you were able to buy it. His evil aunt has died and his wicked uncle was living with his mistress. Satoshi-kun succeeded in fulfilling his duty as a big brother, and by buying his little sister that huge teddy bear. There was nobody left to hurt him. He was free from his tiresome efforts. He was completely free from pain. Over time, he would retrieve his smile, and he would go back to being the Satoshi-kun I loved. But I wouldn't be there with him. Honk honk. I heard a car honking. I didn't think he was honking at me at first, but I was so positioned that I had to look up. The person waving at me from their car was Ivy. He was waving at me all carefree, oblivious to my feelings. Shionzaki-san, long time no see. Oh, are you meeting up with Hojo-san? No, I'm not. I know he looks into that toy store window all the time, so I assumed you were expecting him or something. No, I'm just passing by. Looks like he was able to buy that teddy bear. I seem to know about the teddy bear as well. He smiled upon seeing the empty display space. Yesterday was Satoko-chan's birthday. Oh, yesterday. He must have celebrated it with that teddy bear. He doesn't have to work so hard anymore, huh? Indeed. Did he turn in his registration to the Himizawa Fighters? Oh, does that even exist? I never received one. Did you, Shinozaki-san? No, I didn't. So that means he still belongs to the team. I think he'll be back, after things have settled down. But I know he'll be sad if he doesn't see you there. Ivy teased me. He's a grown-up after all. He must be trying to sound optimistic because he knew I was feeling down. You can come back to the team anytime you want. It might be as well be empty without you. I'm thinking of providing you with a maid costume once you come back. I burst into laughter. Ivy sure hasn't changed. Oh, I almost forgot. I can tell you my name now. Sorry, coach, I was lying about my identity. I'm not Mion. I'm my twin sister, Shion. I've been pretending to be her for a few reasons. Eh? What? You're Mion-san's twin sister? He was totally taken aback. I burst into laughter. Yes, I'm Shion Shionzaki. I'm forced to live quietly because my grandmother hates me, though. I never realized that Mion had a twin sister. Nah, same here. Suddenly a loud voice interrupted us. The voice sounded mean and greasy, unlike Ivy's. It was him, Ushi. Hello, Dr. Ivy. Thank you for your cooperation last night. Last night? What? So, last night, I'm guessing you went to the party, right? At least that's all I know that he did. Maybe they're talking about something else, though. And, the timeline isn't weird. Don't mention it, I wasn't of much help. They were just going through the motions. It was obvious that they hated each other. Ivy whispered to me, I'm leaving now. Do you want to get in my car? I can drive you home. I figured out that Ushi was after me, so he was giving me a chance to slip away. Looking at Ushi's face, it was clear that his focus was on me, not Ivy. He probably intended to interrogate me until my testimony broke. I was sure I could talk my way out of it, but it'd be a waste of time. Alright, coach. Let's get going. Oh, are you two going somewhere together? Yes, we're on our way to get some stuff with the team. We have to drop by a few places, so will you excuse us? Ivy bowed and I followed suit. I had to admire how good at lying he was. He's a grown-up after all. We seemed to know it was a lie. But he did have a warrant, so he couldn't stop us. I moved to get into Ivy's car. How are your wounds, Shion Shinozaki? I gasped when I heard that. My left arm was bandaged. It was unsightly, so I kept it hidden in my pocket. There's no way Ushi, could have been able to see it. They'll heal up in no time if they don't get infected. I tore my fingernails off a couple times myself when I was a kid, but look, they look beautiful, don't they? Men's fingernails shouldn't look beautiful, that gives me the creeps. Ushi scratched his head and chuckled. He's supposed to be one of the best cops at the Okinomiya PD, and he knows about all the underground activities in the region. He must have heard about my payment from somewhere. Still, that happened in the secret basement of the Shinozaki main house. I couldn't underestimate this guy's sources. Thank you for your kind words. We'll be going now. Excuse us. Shinozaki, why don't we get coffee sometime? What? Are you hitting on me? If you like me. Sorry, time flies. I can't waste any of that precious time on someone that doesn't interest me. Ah, you got me there. How about this then? You can leave any time if you get bored of talking to me. I won't stop you. How does that sound? I don't mind talking to you, but I won't talk back. I doubt you could call it a conversation. Yes, that would be fine. You can just listen, and I'll talk. You can just listen to this old man ramble while I'm sipping on a cup of coffee. He was being strangely persistent. It looked like he was trying to poke a hole into my statement. What did we even talk about? I got a bit curious, even though I was skeptical. Coach, I think I'll go with this old man instead. What? Shion-san? I went to him and told him not to worry. Ba-ba-da-ba. Abby didn't insist. He got into the car and drove off. Ushi backed his car up so I could get in. I hopped in the back seat so I didn't want to sit next to him. Are we going to the cafe? If you could direct me to with one with no connection to your family, that would be great. Why don't you just take me to the station then? We should carefully check for ongoing traffic and then start driving. You should take me to the police station as I thought he might. If you take me to a nice cafe, he would have got some nice points. But whatever. I thought it'd be more convenient if we came here. You can still go home if you get bored. Try your best not to bore me then. Do you want me to go into the station with you hand in hand? Ushi chuckled and got out of the car. He escorted me inside the station. I thought he'd take me to the interrogation room, but instead he took me to an office of the interrogation division. Officers in both suits and uniforms were working at their desks answering their phones. There was a desk with a plate that said section manager, and nearby there were coaches and a table. Ushi told me to sit on the couch and started making some instant coffee. I'd never been to this part of the station. I looked around in curiosity. Did you think I'd take you to an interrogation room? Ushi brought over a tray of coffee cups on it. You treat me better than I expected. I thought you'd whip me or something. My tastes don't run that way. Nah ha 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 ha. So? I thought you wanted to talk. Alright, I'll cut to the chase. Are you in love with Satoshi Hojo? What? It's getting boring already, I'm going home. Nah ha ha ha. Okay, please forget that. Ushi must have known why I had removed my fingernails. He wasn't trying to confirm that I like Satoshi-kun, but he was trying to say what he already knew. I already talked to Detective Kumagi about Satoshi-kun's alibi that day. Of course I read Kumagi-kun's report. I know you were with him. I'll just repeat the same statement no matter how many times you ask. Don't think you can poke holes in it. No. That's not what I want. You're a smart person. I know that wouldn't work for you. I wonder what you're after. You're wasting your time if you want information on Satoshi-kun. There's nothing more to talk about. This is boring me after all. I'm going home. Since that was our agreement, excuse me. I got off the couch. Shion-san, I didn't want to get Satoshi-kun's alibi from you. I admit it. That's it then. It's boring. I'm going home. I turned around and started walking. Ushi didn't get anxious, but instead spoke a little louder. But Shion-san, what I want to ask you about is his alibi for yesterday, not the day of the murder. His alibi for yesterday? Why? What does that have to do with his aunt's death? It's because Satoshi-kun has been missing since then. What? Did you know that he went missing? I couldn't say anything, but my expression answered Ushi's question anyway. What's going on? Missing what? Why don't you take a seat? What do you mean Satoshi-kun has gone missing? What the hell? We only know one thing for sure. He withdrew all of his savings at an ATM in Okinomiya's post office before 3 PM yesterday. We don't know his whereabouts after that. I knew why he withdrew that money. He wanted to buy Sutoko's birthday present. Yes, he definitely bought that teddy bear yesterday. This is just my guess, but I think he skipped town with that money. You mean he used that money to run away? That's stupid. He was saving to buy Satoko's birthday present. He bought a big expensive teddy bear from that toy store. He would now use that money to skip town. It's the most expensive teddy bear in that toy store was sold. But we can't confirm that it was Satoshi-kun who bought it. Why don't you ask the clerk? Satoshi-kun and I reserved that teddy bear together. Oh, I had a bad feeling. The old man who was watching the other stool was sleeping when we got there. He looked very senile. Maybe he was also watching the stool on that day, and even though Satoshi bought the teddy bear, he didn't remember. She put on a wise smile. It looked like he'd already tried to question that old man. Anyway, if Satoshi couldn't have bought that teddy bear, he must have saved just enough to buy it, so he shouldn't have been able to run away after all. That's nonsense. Alright, let's say he really did buy that teddy bear, then why didn't he come home with it? At that point, I felt as though my heart had turned to ice. Satoshi-kun had been working hard to buy that teddy bear, even though he was under extreme mental and physical stress. After all that, he finally managed to buy it. It's unthinkable that somebody else just showed up and bought the same teddy bear. This teddy bear was gone because Satoshi-kun had bought it, nobody else. But even if so, Satoshi-kun should have given it to Satoko. But though he bought a present for her, he didn't come home. He didn't come home. That was impossible. He would have gone straight home with that teddy bear. He wouldn't think of running away after buying the teddy bear. Even though Satoshi-kun wanted to run away from the police, he would never leave without giving Satoko a present. Anyway, it must have been Satoshi-kun who bought that teddy bear. I can say that with a 100% certainty. The question was why he didn't bring it home. That teddy bear was huge. It wouldn't fit into the basket of a bicycle. He must have bought some straps to tie it to his bike. He wouldn't have thought of running away on a wobbly bike like that. He unnecessarily had to go home after buying the teddy bear from the store after withdrawing the money. Nothing could have happened when he was going between the ATM and the toy store. It was impossible. Nobody else could have possibly bought that teddy bear. Never. That teddy bear had been sitting in the showcase up until that day. Everyone could see it when they passed by it, but nobody wanted it. It's impossible that it could have been somebody else. There should be no question that he went to the toy store after he withdrew the money. What about the route between the toy store and his home? There shouldn't be any questions there either. He shouldn't have been able to do anything with that huge toy. He shouldn't even thought of making a stop on the way, so he must have headed home. Well, after he bought the teddy bear, but nobody saw him after that. It was simple then. Satoshi-kun went missing on his way home from the toy store. He went missing? What did that mean? I was sure he killed his aunt. She's not that skewed. Maybe he couldn't bear the pressure from the police? Was he resigned to the idea that the police were going to arrest him soon regardless of my help? Did he decide to run away? Did he think that he should disappear until things cooled down rather than getting arrested? That was definitely absolutely impossible. It was impossible that he came to that conclusion on his way home from the toy store. Even if he did, he would have waited until he gave Satoko her birthday present. Satoshi-kun loves Satoko. He shouldn't have spoiled her like that. But anyway, he always tried to be a good brother to her. So he would never disappear before going home. I felt as though the ice was cutting through my heart, expanding the frost. If Satoshi-kun didn't disappear by his own will, the answer was simple. Satoshi-kun had disappeared by the will of someone else. Was Satoshi-kun eliminated? That's really stupid, old man. I took a shake off the frost in my heart if I laughed loudly enough. I kept laughing until it happened. I kept laughing and laughing. All the cops in the room stared at me. They thought I'd gone crazy. I didn't care what they thought. I kept laughing until it turned into a cough. I finished laughing and took a sip of lukewarm coffee. I felt as though the frost in my heart had spread all through my guts. I was chilled to the bone. I was freezing. My fingers shook as I held the coffee cup. Jian-san, please listen to me without interrupting. But what I'm about to tell you is a hypothesis. It's all just a theory. You might start laughing in the middle because it may sound ridiculous, but I want you to hear me out. Can you do that? Ooh, whatever, just talk. I was feeling far too cold. My teeth were chattering. I felt as though my brain had frozen as well. I lost my ability to think. I couldn't do anything by myself. I could only do as much as Ushi told me. What he was going to tell me might be the worst possible theory, but I had to listen to it. I know that Satoshi-kun's and Satoko-kun's aunt was abusing them. especially Satoko-san. In my opinion, it's normal that Satoshi-kun started thinking about murdering his aunt, because he was just a human being. I had to deny that Satoshi-kun murdered her, but what Ushi-san was saying was true. I can deny his hypothesis right away. I just kept silent. This is only a hypothesis, alright? Please don't be upset. I know interruptions. Agreed? I know, just go on. Satoshi Hojo planned the murder of his aunt and executed. We have no proof, okay? It's all theoretical, alright? I heard. Just keep talking. I'll switch the subject now. Shion-san, you were forbidden from having a relationship with Satoshi-kun, weren't you? They told you to stay away from him, correct? I believe the reason behind this is that, not that your family hated the Hojos, but they didn't like the fact that you were involved with a murder suspect. That is actually possible. After all, when I was supposed to be Mia, I already had a connection with Satoshi-kun. If anyone knew Shion, who was spending time around him, I could have been accused when I was helping out with the Shinozawa fighters. The relationship between the Hojos and the Shinozakis was the trouble. It wouldn't be difficult with the Shinozaki family to know that Satoshi-kun murdered his aunt if it happened in Himizawa. Maybe one of them even saw the murder. The Shinozaki family didn't like that. I was in love with the murderer. They decided to step in. Also, you're known to not give up easily, aren't you? Which means even if the Shinozaki family threatened you ripped off your nails, you still wouldn't cut ties with Satoshi-kun, would you? I couldn't deny that. I lost most of my reason to my means to access Himizawa, so my ties to Satoshi-kun were essentially cut off, true. But I still used Satoshi-kun's phone number and expected him to rejoin the Himizawa fighters eventually. I believe your family knew that a few threats would never be enough for you to break ties with Satoshi-kun. They could threaten you all they like to no avail. So their only option would be to do something about the other person, wouldn't it? What do you mean, do something? What would they do? What? What? If the enemy was useless then, they would do something about Satoshi-kun? What would they have done? If they pulled something, then wouldn't that interrupt his path from toy store to his home? Toy store to home. Toy store to X to home. What's X? What is X? X marks the spot where his path was interrupted. But what interrupted it? Why couldn't Satoshi-kun make it home from the toy store if something interrupted him? Why? What's X? X? I ran out of air, became dizzy, and then collapsed. The floor felt cold. I felt no pain and I had fallen to the floor like a plastic doll. Yusha and some others rushed over to help me up. Calm down, Shion-san. We're not certain that Satoshi-kun was killed yet. You're not certain he was killed? What the fuck are you talking about? Don't you know that torture room where they forced me to rip off my fingernails? Don't you know, that they say there are no prison cells and a welfare disposing called prison in the bag? If the Shinozaki family wants to eliminate somebody, they would definitely kill them in that torture room and dump the body down there. You're not certain? Are you dumb? Is your brain made of tofu? If I were in the hag's position, I would kill him for sure. I wouldn't let him get away, I would kill him, then the hag would definitely have killed him. Shion-san, please calm down. This isn't confirmed, but I have information that somebody witnessed a young runaway male at a Nogowa station who took a train from there to Tokyo. The clothes didn't match, but it's possible that he changed what he was wearing to hide from the police. It's still possible that it was him. Is he alive? Is he? This is all just a theory, but let me go on. Your twin sister Mion-san is the closest person to Oreo Shinozaki, correct? I'm assuming that Mion-san stopped Oreo when she suggested murdering Satoshi-kun furtively. Mion? That was possible. She could have tried to calm things down out of pity for me. That idiot was always so indecisive. She should have been clear on it if she wanted to save him or not. But she probably seemed vague about that. She must have persuaded the hag to reduce the punishment and banishment instead of that just to avoid feeling guilty. I believe that the Shinozaki family contacted Satoshi-kun. They probably told him that they couldn't care for the murder and they told him to disappear somewhere far away. They forced him to be more accurate. Satoshi-kun would have rejected that. He would have never left Satoku behind. I agree with you. Satoshi-kun was working at the place Mion-san referred him to, wasn't he? So the family knew that he had enough money for a getaway, but he would never use it for anything other than buying that teddy bear. You're right. He must have gone straight to the toy store after withdrawing the money, but what if the teddy bear was already sold when he got there? that would have been a very desolate situation. He had been working so hard, while his aunt abused him. He worked at so many different jobs, and when he was with all that pain, he went to the toy store with that money in order to buy his beloved sister a present that was the only purpose for that money. He must have looked for that teddy bear as he's always done, but it was gone. He wouldn't have gone into a panic right away, because he was always so optimistic. He might have thought the toy store was wrapping the gift for him because he told them that he would pick it up that day. He must have gone to the store joyously. I couldn't guess exactly what happened next. Would a terrified try to imagine it anyway? Why didn't they have it? Even though he had it reserved. Did the old man understand the situation, or was he just zoning out? Maybe it would have been the same even if it wasn't that old man who was at the toy store at that time. If a bunch of fierce-looking subordinates from the Shinozaki family went in and showed them the money, nobody would reject it. The Joshikun must have sunk into silence. No matter how hard he complained, the teddy bear was gone. He was probably never even considered that his dream might be taken away. He must have been wobbling his way home in sorrow, leaning on the telephone poles every now and then. It was the day he wanted Satoko to be happy the most. He couldn't get the present she wanted the most. He probably didn't think of getting another gift, because it was unimaginable that he couldn't get that teddy bear. He might have imagined how Satoko would react when she found out he had no present for her. He must have looked unbelievably sad and empty. The money he'd been saving meant nothing anymore. Satoshi-kun never cried, even at his toughest moments. Did he even know how to cry? It was always Satoko who was crying. So Satoshi-kun never learned how to cry, so he grew up that way. Did you know? People shed sadness from their hearts with tears. Satoshi-kun wasn't even allowed to do that. Even though his heart was filled with sorrow, he couldn't let it out. You insisted he wouldn't leave Satoko-san behind, didn't you? But think, what if the Shinozaki only told him that they would look after her after his disappearance? After Satoshi-kun found out the teddy bear was gone. All he had to do was crumple up some bills. The family told him it was just a matter of time before the police got to him. They told him to run away. They said they would take out to Satoko. Take care of Satoko. Does that mean this chapter is going to mostly focus on what happened to Satoshi-kun? Because, like, we're having this whole entire intro thingy. So maybe. I guess the truth of that? Because this is all speculative at the moment anyway. Satoshi-kun didn't feel like seeing his sister. He wandered and found himself at Akinomiya Station. He must have been apologizing to Satoko so many times in his head. He swore to come back someday. He headed to Nagoya and then to Tokyo. But that meant he's alive. He's alive. I should be able to see him again someday. He might come back, so I'll definitely see him again. I assume that the Shinozaki family set up some kind of place for him to stay. Satoshi-kun must have gone there, so he's safe. He's coming back someday, right? You should have come to the ceiling and stretched. He didn't answer me. On June 24th, 1982, Satoshi Hojo went missing. There is a possibility that he ran away, as he was the prime suspect of the murder that happened on the 20th of the same month. Allegedly, somebody resembling him was seen at Nagoya Station, embarking on a train heading to Tokyo, but the truth is unknown. No one has seen him since. As a matter of fact, no one even knows if he's still alive. Higurashi when they cry, maybe? That kind of disappeared quickly. Ba 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 ba. Tips. Oh, there's two tips. Page 34 and page 42. That's a pretty big gap. Was it like in the 20s before? Okay, page 34. The information that Satoshi-kun might have headed to Tokyo hasn't been verified. It started as follows. The young man came to the lost and found window looking for his wallet. The station employee asked him to write down his name on the form, Then the young man started writing Hojo as his name, but he stopped in the middle, crumpled the paper, and wrote a totally different name on another form. Another station employee witnessed a similar-looking young man rushing into the train headed to Tokyo. The employee from the Lost and Found and the employee who was at the platform talked about the suspicious young man in the locker room. That was all. The wallet of the young man named Hojo was never reported as found to the Lost and Found office. Hmm, suspicious. At first I thought Yushi's theory that the Shinozaki family banished Satoshi-kun from Himizawa and looked after Satoshi in Satoko in return was bogus. But thinking about it now, it doesn't seem too far-fetched. After all, Satoko Hojo started living with Rika Furudu after Satoshi-kun's disappearance. Rika Furudu isn't just a regular girl, she was the head of the Furudu family, one of the three families. The head of the Kimiyoshi family is Rika Furudu's guardian. Shinozaki family probably couldn't step in due to having being officially opposed to the Hojo family. But Satoko Hojo, in the custody of the three families, is in the custody of the three families now. Even though the Hojo family was severely ostracized during the dump conflict, Satoko Hojo was now under protection. It seemed as though only Satoko was exempt from blame. Why was she spared, even though Satoshi-kun wasn't? Who knows? I guess that's it for this chapter, though. Chapter 6? Yeah, no, oh, it's chapter 7. Okay. But yeah, that should be for this time, so bye-bye. Bye.